Getting a new job as a manager, I thought it was a good opportunity to make a change and try and make my approach to things better. And I'm glad that I took the opportunity to engage with Fiona because it has made a difference. In the way that I approach my work, it made it a lot lighter and happier at work instead of a drudge. So I think that's a real win. I had things that I could work on immediately after the session and put into practice. It was a delight to be at work instead of a chore. My name is Leanne Syron. I have a teaching background. I was living in a rural community that had a prison, so I ended up working in the education centre with incarcerated students, which I really enjoyed. They were very engaged in what we were doing and very responsive students. So before I started coaching with Fiona, I found myself in a management role. I wasn't really comfortable with knowing what my role was as that person. I was very good at organising myself and doing lots of jobs, but I didn't want to end up also doing all the jobs and then having to manage a few staff and doing the same roles as them. So I think I just did some research and found out what some different options that I could follow. A formal management course, or was I just going to rely on sort of our own departmental leadership sort of online learning that we would do with the department that I work with, and I just found sort of they didn't really work for me. I prefer the personal approach, and I came across a number of sort of coaches, but Fiona's information on her website kind of resonated with me about sort of the idea of exploring where you were and discovering what the focus that I wanted to achieve. And my initial priorities was to, find out what I was supposed to be doing as a manager. So having that support of someone maybe to kind of guide me and point me in a particular direction was very attractive.
Are you now able to see any measurable changes?
My work started to be, presented on time. And, and even like I had was able to finish or prepare things ahead of time, which enabled me to, really sort of think about the work that I had done and make changes, or instead of really rushing off, finish it, I hope that's all okay. I was able to really sort of do quality control on it and make sure it was, everything was right and I understood everything. One of the things we talked about, or I took away from a session, was to be able to, start to kind of go home on time as well, instead of always staying doing these extra things. So I reckon I gained a lot of time. My staff are really happy as well, sort of fulfilled in their roles. It's like, people are happy. Yeah, it's been really nice. So instead of me just thinking, I need to stick this job out for, however long, like I can actually see me staying in it, longer than I anticipated, because I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying my job more.
Is there been any impact just beyond work?
I think the big thing that I have taken away is like trusting someone else, like just knowing what my role is, even in personal relationships. Because one of my issues was not being clear in my instructions to people, and then worrying that they had misinterpreted me or that they didn't know what to do or had I said it properly. Now just sort of taking a moment to sort of really frame what I'm saying to someone, and then just leaving it with them and not doing that extra mental step about, do they understand me? Do I have to say it again? I just say it and I leave it with them and trust them.
Some people would say coaching is not for them. What would you say after your experience coaching with Fiona?
You go to work and you're there for the majority of your day. It's not working for you. If it's not making you feel like you're achieving, you've got to be honest and do something about it. You can go and do a nice Google search and, find 10 things that you should say that are going to make you a better manager. But, if that was all it was, no one would have any problems. So it logically has to be different. And for me, it was like, do it honestly. I would say, just be honest. Identify things that you are having issues with, and being very specific about what they might be. Because what I've found with Fiona is I was never able to do that on my own. So I sought some coaching with Fiona, and things are different.
During your session, what helped you finding a clear path?
By putting in boundaries with what my role is and what others' role is, I've gained myself some space and time, which then consequently enables me to see what my duties are and my tasks are as a manager, and be very clear about them, and starting and finishing jobs and knowing that they're done instead of having unfinished jobs on the go all at once. That has taken away any concern about whether I'm doing the right thing or, doing enough. And I think, when you have that clarity around what you're doing, the offshoot of that is motivation to do whatever you need to do in your job, because you're going to be able to do it now. The questions that Fiona asked really made me feel at ease to go places that were a bit embarrassing, that I didn't feel like I was doing very well in or didn't understand. And what I found very much of use was I had to stop and be honest.
What is your experience regarding imposter syndrome?
I think as a new teacher, you're writing something on the board and little faces are looking at you, and it's like, oh my God, I don't really know what I'm doing, and you feel like an imposter with a whiteboard marker. Being very self-effacing and always seeing myself as a learner. I felt like I was always less than everybody else, and everyone else knew more than me. And intellectually, I knew that wasn't true. And in fact, looking at some people's CVs along the way, I'd have done a lot more than them. But they approached their role very differently. And it was always like, why can't I be like that? So when coaching with Fiona, one of the things I've taken away is, not overthinking something, just looking at something truthfully and, is it like this or is it like this? And then accepting the answer. It's been very natural, issues have kind of dropped away without even recognising them, which is how I always think things can be sustainable. I always want changes to be sustainable, real and authentic.
How did Fiona help you find and express this potential that was in you?
It was kind of putting some boundaries around what my role was as a manager, and they had a start and an end point. I didn't have to manage the workers' emotions like it was their role to manage that for themselves. It was very much, now I'll allow them to do their role and respect them to do that and trust them to do that. And instead of Fiona saying, oh, well, you could have done this, or you could have said that, or it was like this, or it was like that, it was just definitely keeping the focus on me and what I thought about it and what I thought my role was in that moment, and communicate it in a way that was clear, and just sort of accepting the answer instead of trying to explain it to myself in a different way. Like I said before, it caused me to be honest with myself and kind of be kind to myself. Feel so like an underachiever at the end of the day. It was to see myself as achieving. And yeah, that changed pretty much straight away. And I think with that success, then then you're feeling confident to applying the same principles in different areas.
Is there anything you'd like to say to Fiona if she was here now?
Yes, thank her for her approach to our session. They felt very wise, very trusting of me that I could make the changes. She was able to instill in confidence in me right from the beginning And that sort of, we got straight down to work. We were like working from minute one. There was no like time waste.